Hello students, today we'll continue the model number 3. In model number 3 we have started with scaling, and today we'll start one more point, that is subsystem design process. In the subsystem design process we are going to study about the design of the digital system using top-down process, or you can say top-down approach. So in this system, or here, we are going to discuss about 4-bit microprocessor. Okay, you know that the 4-bit microprocessor, it will have different components or different blocks of the 4-bit microprocessor. First, it is the arithmetic logic unit, ALU. Then second, control unit. Third, IO unit, and then memory. Out of that, we are going to discuss about the arithmetic logic unit. Okay, so we will discuss about the arithmetic logic unit, then block diagram of arithmetic logic unit, and out of that we will first study a part of arithmetic logic unit is the shifter. So we will discuss how to design the shifter, and then we will design about arithmetic logic unit. Okay, before going to that, we will see how to design this system. What are the general considerations of the system? The general considerations of the system are such that it should provide ways of handling problems, provide ways of designing and realizing system which are too complex. Means if you want to design a complex system, there are different ways, and into that different way, which system or which pattern will be optimum. Okay, which way it will provide a better idea with some low cost, high reliability, low power dissipation, better performance. Okay, so this will be the end product or market customer requirements. So for that, so general considerations are like this: low unit cost, higher repeatability, higher reliability, low power dissipation, low weight, low volume, better performance, enhanced repeatability, power dissipation, possibility to reduce the design development periods. Okay, then first we'll see what is the lower unit cost. Okay, so there are different approaches. Out of that, we'll see. So subsystem will be designed in different ways. Out of that, we'll select which is gives lower unit cost and higher reliability. So high level of system integration greatly reduces interconnections. If we go on reducing the minimum feature size, as well as we are going to reduce the interconnections. If we go on reducing the interconnections, it will provide good reliability. Okay, so lower power dissipation, lower unit cost, and lower volume. So we have to design such that it should give minimum power dissipation, minimum weight, and low volume. Okay, as well as it should give better performance, particularly in terms of speed power product. Speed power product it should be less. Okay, so enhanced repeatability. So it will provide, if there are fewer processes to be controlled in the whole system, or very large part to be realized on a single chip, this reduces the repeatability, which is appreciable. Means if you want to design a large part, out of that large part we are going to design small part, and that part will be repeatedly designed or repeatedly used. Okay, so there should be a more repeatability, so that design time it goes on reducing. So its next point, it is possibility of reduced design and development period. For more complex system, reduced development time is appreciable, and reduced development time it will be achieved when, if you are going to use more repeatability. If you are going to design a simple unit and that will be utilized number of times, automatically development time it will go on decreasing. Okay, so then these are the some points. Then next, some problem related with the VLSI design. What are the some problems with the VLSI design? So VLSI design, first problem is that how to design complex system in a responsible, in a reasonable time and responsible efforts. Okay. Next, the nature of architecture best suited to take full advantage of VLSI and the technology. The testability of large or complex system once implemented on silicon. So these are the three main questions while designing VLSI circuits. How to design complex circuit in a reasonable time and reasonable efforts. Okay. Nature of architecture, which is the suitable, which is the best suitable, and it will use the VLSI and technology. So it should be testable. The circuit should be testable. So for such a case, for these problems, we can use the following methods or following solution. The problem 1 and 3, first problem and problem 3 are greatly reduced with the help of following steps. Okay, use a top-down design approach. Use top-down design approach with adequate CAD tools. Then next, partitioning the system sensibly. You have to divide system into subsystem sensibly. Okay, you have to make partition between the system. That is, system is divided into subsystem, subsystem is divided into small units, or unit is divided into sub unit is divided into one leaf cell. Okay, so likewise, aiming for simple interconnections. Interconnections should be simple, no too long interconnections. Okay, or complex interconnections should be avoided. High regularity within the subsystem. Okay, what is the mean by regulatory? Regulatory means power supply, VCC, then ground or input, output. These are the connections with the one leaf cell, and with that leaf cell, they should be regularly come at a particular place so that we can, it is easily interconnectable. Okay, regularity. Okay, generate and then verify each section of the design. We have to generate small unit and then we have to verify each section. Okay, devote significant portion of total chip area to test and diagnostic facility. Okay, then second problem 2 can be solved by selecting architectures that allow design objectives and high regularity in realization. Okay, so these are the some problems and what is the solution for it. So illustration of design process. So in the illustration of the design process, structured design begins with the concept of hierarchy. So it has a hierarchical structure. So this involves dividing any complex function into less complex sub functions. Means main function will be divided into sub function. Okay, main function will be the complex and the sub functions will be simple one. So this can be done until bottom level referred to a leaf cell is reached. Up to leaf cell we have to divide. Okay, this process is known as a top down design, or this is a top down approach. Here this process we are going to follow. Okay, as a system complexity increases, its organization changes as a different factors become relevant to its creation. So depending upon the different factors we have to divide. Okay, coupling can be used as a measure the sub modules interconnection. That is, sub modules are interconnected by using interconnections. Okay, clever system aims at a minimum sub module interconnection resulting in dependent design. So clever module, okay, clever sub module Okay, our clever system, it will have minimum interconnections. Okay, then concurrency should be exploited so that all the gates on the chip do useful work most of the time. Okay, as the technology is changing fast, the adoption to a new process must occur in a time. So we have to use whatever the new technologies, and so we have to adapt the new technologies so that we can go for the high level approach and the system will be best one. Okay, so now first we are going to discuss about the processor design. Okay, so general arrangement of 4-bit arithmetic processor. 4-bit arithmetic processor. So it is a simple example of 4-bit arithmetic processor, and how to design the arithmetic processor. You can see here the basic architecture of a microprocessor is as shown in here. This is the architecture of microprocessor, and here as an example we are going to study 4-bit arithmetic processor. Okay, it consists of arithmetic logic unit, ALU unit, and registers. Okay, so ALU and register data path, it is the main block. Then we require the control unit, we require memory unit for storing the information, and we require input output units. Okay, so these are the main parts of the processor we require. Okay, so they are interconnected. We require address bus, we require control bus, and we require data bus. Okay, so this is basic digital processor architecture. Okay, now we are going to concentrate on arithmetic logic unit data path. Okay, so data path of ALU. So data path of ALU. So there are two different approaches. So this is first approach. So what is the data? ALU, arithmetic logic unit, it will take data and it will do arithmetic operation, and then it will give the data out. Okay, so what are the different operations it will do? Basic arithmetic operations, or logical operations, or shift operations, and temporarily they will be stored. The operands will be stored and result will be stored. Okay, there will be the temporarily stored. Okay, so we require the input port as well as we require output port. Okay, so ALU, it has data path, and this data path it will have input port as well as the output port. This is one approach. Another approach is that it is also possible that both the data ports can be combined to form a single bidirectional port if storage facility is available in the data path. If we have the storage facility, then there is a not necessity of input port is different and output port is different. Only one port that we can do as a data input and output. Okay, so this is one approach, that is single port is acting as an input and output port. So in this case we required storage of operands must be required. Okay, storage facility it should be there. Okay, so this is another approach. So out of that we will select one. Okay, then next, general arrangement for 4-bit arithmetic processor. Now ALU arrangement, we will see ALU arrangement. So data path can be decomposed into main subunits. Okay, as it will be helpful in deciding the possible floor plan. Okay, means ALU again divided into different parts. What are the different parts we can design? That is, we require input output port, as we discussed. We require 4-bit registers, we require temporary to storage the operands, we require 4-bit arithmetic logic unit, we require 4-bit arithmetic logic unit, and we require one more operation is that shifter operation, that is shifter unit we required. So arithmetic unit, our main part of the arithmetic logic unit, okay, 4-bit arithmetic processor. Okay, so we are going to design 4-bit microprocessor. Out of that 4-bit microprocessor, we are concentrating on ALU, and now ALU is divided into subunits. Okay, main complex unit, main system is a microprocessor, 4-bit microprocessor. It has different parts. That is, it has ALU, it has input output ports, it has a control unit, it has a memory. Out of that, we are going to concentrate on ALU. Now ALU is divided into again subunits. That is, it will have ALU, then it will have shifter unit, it will have registers to store the temporary data, it will have input output port. Okay, so main unit is divided into subunits. Now we'll discuss about the what are the different approaches, how many buses we are going to require. Okay, so we required 1 bus, 2 bus or 3 bus. There will be the different advantage and disadvantages. That is, if we go for the single bus, area will be required will be less. Okay, and if we require more number of buses, area will be required will be more. Okay, but time required to complete the operation, it will take more time. We'll see what are the sequence of operation. Here it is the first, that is 1 bus structure. This is a 1 bus structure. So this is 1 bus structure. Here it is a ALU, here it is a register, and here it is a shifter unit. Okay, so whatever the data we have to take here, and then we have to perform the arithmetic operations here. First, operands are moved from register to ALU. Register, there will be the operands will be there, and that we have to move into ALU and stored there. Second operand is moved from the register to ALU, where the operands are added, subtracted, whatever the process you want to do, that we have to do, and result will be stored in the ALU. Okay, so whatever in the next cycle, the result is then passed through shifter and stored into the register. So whatever the shifting operation, if you want to do that shifting operation, it will be done, and we have to pass through the again register, we have to store into the register. In this way, we require the total 3 clock cycles. Okay, we require 3 clock cycles. This is faster by using, this will be more faster by using the 2 bus architecture. Okay, so next to 2 bus architecture. So this 2 bus architecture, it has register, ALU, shifter, okay, the same, and but it requires 2 buses. So this is a 2 bus architecture. So in the 2 bus architecture, both operand A and B are sent into ALU within 1 clock cycle. Okay, and then arithmetic operation will be done. Okay, see here, both operand A and B send from the register to ALU. So register to ALU, register to ALU within 1 clock cycle, and that addition will be done, and then again it will be transferred on 1 bus, and it will be shifted to the shifter to the next clock cycle. Result is passed through the shifter, and it will be stored into the register. Okay, within 2 clock cycle we got the operation. Okay, so here we require the 2 clock cycles, and the next is the 3 bus architecture. In the next 3 bus architectures, this is one this is 1 bus, this is another bus, and this is 1 more bus. Okay, so the sequence is like this. Both operands A and B are sent from register to ALU. ALU will perform the operation, and the result will be shifted directly to the shifter, and then whatever the shifting operation will be done, and then it will directly stored into the register. Okay, all these sequences happen in 1 clock period. Okay, but so this will be more faster. So whatever the approach you want, that you can select. Okay, so this is one approach of design ALU, or what are the bus architecture we want. In that way we can go. Okay, then design of 4-bit shifter. So this shifter unit is there, this is a shifter unit is there. So this shifter unit will study first. Okay, and we will discuss how to design a shifter. Okay, so design of 4-bit shifter. A general purpose of n-bit shifter should be capable of shifting n incoming data up to n-1 places, either in the right place or either in right direction or in left direction. Okay, shifting should be take place in the n round basis, that is, any bit shifted out at one end of a data word will be shifted in the other end of the data word. Thus, the problem of right shift or left shift can be easily erased. Okay, so you will get one example here, that is, if you take 4-bit operation, if you take 4-bit register, if you go for the one right shift is nothing but equal to 3 left shifts. So here it can be analyzed that 4-bit word, that 1-bit shift right is equivalent to 3-bit shift left, or a 2-bit shift right is equivalent to 2-bit shift left. Hence, the design of either shift right or left shift can be done. Okay, here the design of shift right operation we are going to do. Okay, so not necessary to design for right shift or left shift, then complexity it will go on increasing. So right shift operation, it will be equivalent with the left shift operation. Okay, so hence we can go for the right shift operation, that is, we can go for the 4-bit shifter with 0, 1, 2, 3 places shifting. Okay, the shifter must have input from a 4-line parallel data bus. So this is one requirement. 4 output lines for the shifted data output. Okay, the input data can be transferred to output lines using shift form 0 shift, 1 shift, 2 shift or 3-bit shifts. Okay, while designing, the strategy should be decided. The chosen strategy here is the data flow direction in horizontal and control signal flow direction in vertical. So always we are going to see the data flow will be in one direction, that is horizontal direction, and vertical direction will be the control signals will be there. So that strategy we have to follow. Okay, so we have to choose one strategy and we have to follow that strategy throughout the design, so that there will be no confusion. Okay, so this is one approach, or before going to that one approach, this is the 4-bit shifter. Here it is, you can see here it is. There are 4 input lines, 4 output lines and the control signals. These are the horizontal lines are the input output lines, data lines, and vertical lines are the control signals. Okay, so we'll see once again, or we'll go first what is the 4-bit shifter. Okay, this is one approach of the 4-bit shifter. So these are the data lines. Okay, so see here, so this is output line, this is output line, this is output line, this is output line, and this is input. Okay, so first you should know what is shifting operation. That is, to know shifting operation, we will go for once again the last slide. Okay, so this last slide, so see here, if the data is 0 0 or 1 0 1 0, so if you want to go for the right shift, okay, right shift with 1 bit, so that is 1 0 1 and 0 will be here. Okay, so likewise you will get, so that will be there. Okay, so likewise you can see the shift operation, shift right with 1 place, 1 bit, 2 bit, 3 bit, that will be the shifting operation. Okay, so see here, so this is simple shifter. So this is having 4 input lines, 4 output lines, and there are 16 number of control switches are there. So to drive crossbar switch, 16 control signals that is SC00 to SC15. The total 16 control signals we require. See here, SC00, SC01, SC02, SC03. Okay. So these are the control signals. So likewise, so we require the total 16 control signals we require. Total 16 control signals we require. The arrangement in general, it can be expanded to accommodate n bit shift of input and outputs. So this arrangement we can go for n number of inputs and n number of outputs. Any input can be shifted to any line. Okay, any number of shifts can be possible. That is, if there are n number of input datas, so n minus 1 shifting operations will be achieved. Okay, this arrangement, any input can be connected to any or all the outputs. Suppose, so this 0 you want to shift. So there, if suppose there is a no shift, so that is input 0 to output 0, input 1 to output 1, input 2 to output 2, input 3 to output 3. So we have to turn on 0 0, 1 1, 2 2, 3 3 switch. Automatically it will connect to 0 to out 0, 1 to out 1, in 1, in 2 to out 2, in 3 to out 3. Now if you want right shift, so that is, we have to select a particular switch. That is, so input 0 we have to connect to input 1. So that is, you can go here for, so input 0 you have to connect here, then this, again this switch we have to go. So likewise you can select any input pin. Any input pin can be connected to any output line. Suppose out 0 you want to connect to out 3, so you have to turn on this. Okay, so if all switches are closed, all input lines are connected to all output lines, but it forms a short circuit. Okay, all input lines can be connected to any line. Any input line can be connected to any output line. Okay, so this is one approach, but here we require the 16 control signals. So it can be minimized by making group. Okay, so in previous case we need 16 control signals and it increases the complexity. To reduce the complexity, the switch gates are coupled in groups. That is, here in this case it is grouped into 4 switch we are going to couple together. Okay, so that the complexity is reduced. Okay, here 4 groups of 4 is formed, which correspond to shift 0, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3. Okay, this arrangement is called as a barrel shifter. In this, only 4 control signals we required. Only 4 control signals. So barrel shifter here. So what is the barrel shifter? So barrel shifter, it will have data input lines are 4, data output lines are 4, and vertically these are the horizontal lines, and the control signals are these are the shift 0, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3. Okay, also you can see here these are the connected here. So input 0, input 1, input 2, input 3, they are connected, this likewise and this also. Now if you want there is a no shift, that is input is equal to output, means input 0 is connected to out 0. So likewise, so input 0, so this input 0, it is connected to out 0. Okay, input 2, so input 2 is connected to output 2. Input 3 is connected to input 2 is connected to output 2. Input 3 is connected to output 3. So likewise, there is no shifting will be get. Now if want right shift, if want right shift, okay, shift 0 here it is, this is for shift 0, means this switch, this switch. So see here, the shift 0 is this, then this, and then this. So 1 2 3 4 transistors will be on for shift 0. If want, okay, shift 3, shift 2, shift 1. Now let us say if you want to shift right by shift 1. So for that, so this switch will be turned on, then it is connected to this, then this switch, and then this switch. Now you can see here, so input 3 is connected to output 0, okay, then input 1 is connected to output 1, input 2 is connected to input 3, input 1 is connected to out 2, and input 2 is connected to output 3. So in this way there is a one shift will be achieved, okay. So in this way you can go for right shift of shift 0, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3 by using these control lines, shift 0, shift 3, shift 2, shift 1. So you can do shifting operation by using barrel shifter, okay. So you know that the shifting operation is nothing but you can use it is for multiplication operation, okay. This is simple example. So this is about the barrel shifter, okay. This is the general block diagram of 4x4 barrel shifter, okay. So it has a 4 inputs, 4 output, 4x4 barrel shifter, input signal, output signals, and control signal, okay. Here now shift 0, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, okay, shift 0, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3. Now out 0 will be there. What will be the out 0? 0 0 out 0, shift 0 is there. So now you can see it. So this will be the shift 0. So out will be 0, 0 1, 0 2, and 0 3. There will be no shifting will be there. Input is connected to 0, so there 1 2 and 3 as it is you will get. This is 0 1 2 and 3. If shift 1 is there, output line 0 line will be connected to 1, second line will be connected to 2, and third line will be connected to 3, and fourth line will be connected to 0th line, okay. So likewise here shift 1, that is 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, and 3 to 0. So that is shown here, shift 0, okay. So block diagram of barrel shifter and shifting of data is as shown in the table. The CMOS transmission gate may be used in place of the simple pass switches. Pass transistor switches is there. Instead of that switch we can use a CMOS transmission gate, okay. Switch is appropriate, okay. Barrel shifter connects the input lines representing a word to a group of output lines with the required shift determined by the control inputs. Shift 0, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3 are these are the control inputs, okay. Control inputs also determine the direction of the shift. If the input word has n bits and then shift from 0 to n minus 1 bit, 0 to n minus 1 bit position are to be implemented, okay. So these are the total barrel shifting operation. So this is about the one part of the barrel shifter, okay. So then we will see about the regularity. What is meant by regularity? So we have to design one part and we have to use that part repeatedly, so that you can see what we have designed it and how many times we have repeatedly use it. that, and what is the regularity. Okay, so it is an essentiality of an design. It is required in the design so that your design time it good reduces. It reduces design efforts required for the system. Regularity of any particular design can be gauged as regularity is equal to total number of transistor on the chip, total number of transistor on the chip, and number of transistor circuit that must be designed in detail. Okay, so in for 4 cross 4 barrel shifter, regularity factor is given by regularity is equal to total number of transistor we have used in chip, it is a 16, and number of transistor circuit that must be designed in first time, that will be the 1 transistor. In case of barrel shifter, we need only 1 transistor designed. We have to design only one time that design, and the same transistor we have to repeatedly use. Okay, so we are going to design first a transistor, and that transistor will be repeatedly used. Okay, same can be applied for all 16 transistors, not necessary to design once again. Okay, and hence the regularity is 16 divided by 1 will be the 16 is the regularity. Higher the regularity, lesser will be the design efforts, and good system design achieve regularity factor of 50 or 100. So for good regularity, this factor it should be about 50 to 100. Okay, so that's all about the today's video. We'll stop here. Okay, if you have any questions, you can decide, or you can tell me on WhatsApp group. Okay, so today we'll stop here.